Hello there everybody and welcome to another edition of Nice Deck. My name's GrimmChorizo, and with it being the Halloween season, I figured it'd be only fitting for me to show off one of my favorite decks. I call it the Undead Nightmare. That's not right. I call it the Undead Nightmare. God damn it. I call it the Undead Nightmare! So this deck is full of a number of horrors, primarily zombies and vampires.
Hey. Ow.
Not those kind of vampires. Oh, and by the way, I play Magic casually. I don't take it too seriously, you know? It's all about having fun for me. And what is more fun than overwhelming your opponents with massive hordes of zombies, life-stealing vampires, and then on top of that, making them sacrifice their entire battlefields. This deck has plenty of cheap-costing creatures that you can get out there pretty quick, like Butcher Ghoul, Vampire Nighthawk, and the Gatekeeper of Malakir. Butcher Ghoul is pretty weak, but with the ability of Undying, it gets to come back once after it dies with a 1/1 counter on it. These work great as shields until you can get enough land for the others. Obviously, one of the main themes of this deck is the fact that nearly all the creatures are zombies. With cards like Cemetery Reaper and Undead Warchief, you can boost up your weaker zombies and make them cheaper to play. Cemetery Reaper gives all of your zombies +1/+1, while Undead Warchief gives +2/+1 to all your zombies, and it also makes every zombie 1 less mana to play. To ensure that I can keep getting the huge amounts of zombies I want, I have a few tricks up my sleeves. Endless Ranks of the Dead is an enchantment that gives X zombies at the beginning of your upkeep, where X is half the number of zombies you already control. So if I have 4 zombies on the field, I will get 2 more at the beginning of my upkeep. Then next turn, if I have 6 zombies, I will get 3 more. You can see how the zombies just grow and grow until you have a massive, unstoppable horde. And if that isn't enough, I've got Army of the Damned. This card is pretty high mana cost, but it gives you 13 2/2 black zombie creatures. And then you can flash it back from the graveyard and do it again. If you manage to use Army of the Damned twice, along with Endless Ranks of the Dead on the field, you'll have over 100 zombies in no time. And if you just feel like adding insult to injury, play Grave Betrayal. This card costs a lot, but whenever an opponent's creature dies, it comes back onto the field under your control with an additional +1/+1 counter. Oh, and it's also a zombie, so it gets all the benefits of being one. I do have to warn you though, your friends will hate you if you use this deck. And the main reason is because of this next deck mechanic: sacrificing. With creatures like Gatekeeper of Malakir and Fleshbag Marauder, your opponents will have to sacrifice a creature right when they come into play. When you play Gatekeeper of Malakir, if you pay its kicker cost, you can choose an opponent to sacrifice a creature. When you play Fleshbag Marauder, however, every player, including you, has to sacrifice a creature. Now you might be thinking, that's kind of lame, I don't want to sacrifice my own creatures. But there are a few reasons why losing your own creatures can be one of the best things while playing this deck. First of all, think back to the Butcher Ghoul. You can sacrifice one of them, and if it hasn't died yet, it will just come back stronger. No harm done there. But my favorite thing to do is just sacrifice the Fleshbag Marauder itself. That way, you can play one of the cards that I'll be talking about very shortly to bring him back to your hand, and you can play him, and it will be an endless loop of sacrificing. Alright, so how do you keep getting your creatures out of your graveyard? Well, these next cards will do the trick. Gravedigger allows you to return a creature card from the graveyard when he comes into play. Revive the Fallen also allows you to return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand, but it also lets you clash with an opponent. If you win the clash, you get to keep Revive the Fallen. To clash, you and your opponent reveal the top card of your deck, and whichever card has a higher mana cost wins. If you can keep winning the clashes, you can keep using Revive the Fallen as many times as you want. The ultimate sacrifice card in this deck would have to be Call to the Grave. This card has gotten me nuclear amounts of hate. This enchantment makes each player have to sacrifice a non-zombie creature at the beginning of his or her upkeep. When it gets to your upkeep, you might have to sacrifice a vampire or one of the other few non-zombie creatures in the deck, but if the deck is going right, you should have plenty of zombies to rule the battlefield, so you shouldn't have to worry about Call to the Grave ever going away from that rule. Of course, you wouldn't want to play this card if you're up against another zombie deck, but you already knew that. Also, one of the best parts about the sacrifice rule is that it's the only way to get past indestructible creatures. Fuck you, indestructible. To keep the enemies at bay while you are building up for these main mechanic cards, the deck is full of instants to kill off your opponent's creatures, like Geth's Verdict, Hideous End, and Murder. Now this deck, like any deck, it can't win them all. Nah, who am I kidding? Using the main mechanics of endless powered up zombies and sacrificing all your opponent's creatures, you should wipe out anyone and everyone who stands in your way. Ladies and gentlemen, the zombie apocalypse is here. Well hey, thanks for watching my episode of Nice Deck. I hope you enjoyed learning about my Undead Nightmare. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and be on the lookout for more episodes of Nice Deck. I'm GrimmChorizo. Keep watching the Vortex, and have a happy Halloween.